Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Kizer Mercury, designed by Alex Berkowitz. I want to get that out there before I forget it. This is a very unique looking knife. That's not to say that we have not had any like skinny, like CRKT CEO. There's lots of knives out there that kind of have this skinny flipper aesthetic, but all of them I have problems with. It's just what I have always assumed is just kind of the nature of the design. And while I don't consider this a perfect knife, I have to admit for this style, I like this a lot better, and I'm going to go over exactly why. Thanks so much to Kizer for sending this knife in for me to take a look at. It is available, and it's probably nowhere near as expensive as you might think. We're looking at titanium and S35VN, by the way, so if you're familiar with those materials, you know what to expect. But yeah, I was surprised to see the price on this. It is available. I'll link it down below. It does help my channel when you use those links, but that's entirely up to you. Thanks so much to my patrons for supporting me, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at... Has that been upside down this whole time? At metal_complex. Oh boy, professional knife reviewer. Let's go ahead and do some size. I'm not even going to cut that out. I'm not even going to redo the intro. I'm just going to leave it. Size comparisons. Any custom scales you find in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and others. So up against the 8010 and the 8020.5, you can see here that this guy is about the same overall length as the 8020.5. Probably would be helpful if we measured it. And speaking of not getting off to a super smooth start here, 7 1/4 inches overall, 3 1/4 inch blade with a 3 1/8 inch cutting edge. Very skinny. Obviously, we're looking at a skinny knife. Let's put it up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3, which is, there we go, right there. Once again, closer to the size of the smaller comparison here. Last but not least, let's put it up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue and the Hogue Deca. Alrighty. How's the action? Actually, you'd think it would be a little bit awkward. Now, that's part of my issue with knives like this. They're always just awkward. Companies sometimes they try to do a frame lock. That's a bad idea because the frame is so narrow. You get your fingers on it, right? Or there's double clutch, which oddly enough, there's not. It's close, but there's not, right? Or you have this awkward disengagement area. Once again, not the case. Or maybe the flipper tab just isn't quite the right. This is so weird. This knife actually works. Like everything about it, I look at it and I'm like, man, I bet that's uncomfortable to manipulate. And make no mistake, it's still more comfortable to manipulate a wider framed knife. This is still not something that is truly accommodating to the human hand. But it is head and shoulders over a lot of the other designs that kind of have the same sort of skinny frame look, right? Honestly, the action is really good and the detent is really good. It just makes the knife feel so much higher quality than I would have expected just looking at the picture. I feel like these skinny profile knives, people who have experienced them before, they look at them and think, yeah, it's cool looking, but it's probably going to be kind of a pain to carry around and use. Yeah, at least in terms of manipulation, very, very good. I got to judge it by the design. It's working within certain parameters, and it's done a great job within these parameters. Let's do carry profile. So thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. It is not really all that thick, and it's contoured, and it's textured. Golly, that's really good looking, isn't it? Yeah. It's not really all that thick. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. It's certainly going to win in this department. Holy moly. It really is just like carrying a short, thick pen. Like, for real. That's really what it's like carrying. I mean, it's the nice thing is because it's made out of titanium, it's heavy enough that you'll remember that it's there, right? Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'm going to get out my tools as per usual. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel or the pinned comment. The pivot is almost certainly a T8, And it is. The screw for the frame, which there's just one. Look at that. That's so beautiful. It's just one screw going into the frame. We have one hidden screw underneath for the pocket clip. No lefty mounting position for the pocket clip, which is a bummer. But, man, we get this nice, clean aesthetic, right? I'm just going to give you guys a good look at that. That's really nice. That's just good looking. I honestly kind of like the seam construction on the backspacer too, but it's one screw for disassembly and the pivot. Pretty cool. Hats off to the designer there. I like that a lot. Very easy to take apart, maintain, and reassemble. As long as you have the right tools for the job, you should be good to go. Let's go ahead and weigh it. What are we looking at for materials? Like I said, titanium, which has been milled out for some weight reduction, and CPMS 35VN, which is great. Whoops. Technical difficulties. Let's try turning this off and turning it back on so that it's, there we go. The weight on this guy comes in at 2.12 ounces. That is 0.12 ounces away from being what I refer to as trivial. That's very, very lightweight, and obviously the ratios are very good. This is achieved by the very thin blade profile and the very thin frame or handle profile, obviously. I'm a genius, though, so that's how I figured it out. Let's go ahead and measure blade stock thickness. Where's my calipers? There they are. So obviously we're not looking at a super thick blade, but then again, I mean, whoop, about closed it on my finger there. Then again, I mean, no matter how thin this thing is, it's really just not, I'm going to measure it all the way out here because that's what's sticking up, and it's the same out here. It's 115 thousandths. So how does it slice? How's the factory edge? Factory behind the edge thickness up against something like paper? You know, it's about what I thought it was going to be. It's good. It's okay, right? I mean, we're lifting at the edges here. You can get it sharp. You can get it to do what you need it to do. I mean, come on. What are you going to be using this for? You're going to be opening envelopes and packages and stuff like that. It'll do that. But it just doesn't have a whole lot of room to drop down to the cutting edge. So even at 100 and what we just measured at, 115 thousandths, there's just not a ton of room. So don't expect it to be super slicey, but expect it to have a good enough factory edge that you can do what you need it to do. And S35VN, of course, will back that up in terms of decent edge retention. In fact, very good edge retention. So, yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and move into the meat and potatoes here. Believe it or not, not that I need it, but I can actually get a full 4-finger grip on this guy. Is it comfortable? About as comfortable as holding a long rectangular pen body, right? The only saving grace here is that they did chamfer this right here. All of the machining is very nicely done. There is nothing unfinished. That's what I would expect from Kizer, though I will admit, this is nice. Kizer, are you guys holding out on us? Like, I know you guys can do some nice stuff, but hey, how about some of this for some of the bigger knives that you do? Like, man, that's really nice. And sorry, we have somebody dropping a family-sized salad bowl upstairs. Anyways, the gold titanium frame looks really, really good. I mean, it's just like gold anodized, but the texturing also feels nice. All of the machining is very, very good, right? The rest of the lines here, I mean, it's not really a shape that, it's a shape that the hand can hold on to, and it doesn't have any sharp edges, but it's otherwise straight and thin, so it doesn't leave you with an enormous amount of confidence in like a hammer grip. However, if you are doing a draw cut, you're opening a package, something like that, it's fine. Don't expect this to be an ergonomic masterpiece. I mean, it was obviously not designed to be, but everywhere that you would expect to be sharp or unfinished isn't. It's really nice. I mean, that's what when I see knives like this, I go, anything that's like even kind of unfinished is going to be over exaggerated by this style. Right? No. The pivot looks nice, the domed pivot, and we just have one adjustment head over here. We have the S35, we have the Berkowitz logo right here, and then they have printed the word Mercury on the blade, which is, in my opinion, the equivalent of putting the word Camaro on the windshield of a Camaro. I think that's stupid. So yeah, that's bothersome. But the Berkowitz obviously is fine. Kizer's fine right here, and then S35VN. This is a satin finish blade, and that's kind of a boring finish. knowing that Kizer can do a beautiful, like literally one of the most beautiful semi-reflective tumbled finishes on the market, it's really sad that they went all out for this frame and then just regular satin finish on the blade, right? Maybe that was Berkowitz's choice for the finish. I don't know. This is, it's almost like a micro shaving razor. Like that's the look. Probably won't do too well as that because it doesn't get super thin behind the edge. This is, I think, let me look at this here real quick. Yeah, this is flat ground. I thought for a moment it might actually be hollow, but no. Edges up here are nicely knocked down. There's no, sharpness right here. The edge has an even apex on both sides, so no big deal there. No big deal. Perfect there. The overall fit and finish of this knife is also very, very good. Kizer's really good about that. Oh no, there's no lanyard hole. Does anyone care anymore? I mean, I know a few of you do, but not really. I kind of like this. I'm glad that they didn't just do some simple backspacer. I kind of like there's a little more personality here. We don't see this as much, and for some reason, it just couples well with this design. The pocket clip also works. It's a milled titanium pocket clip that is less than 50% the body. That's nice. The edges are also nicely knocked down. They didn't texture it, which I think actually looks good, but they could have textured it, and that also would have looked good, right? It's fine. This is a liner lock, which is very important on a knife like this, because if it were a frame lock, you would constantly be trying to figure out how to deploy this without putting too much pressure on the lock and therefore the detent ball and therefore the blade, causing it to not deploy as readily. That's always an issue there. Now, the lock itself, is it titanium or steel? I'm almost certain that it's steel. And I am correct about that. And that's fine. It doesn't need to be titanium, right? Because even if it were titanium, you'd want a steel lock bar insert in there so that you'd have a steel on steel contact, right? So you slow the wear down. So anyways, that's just fine. We have a stop pin, a really tiny little stop pin. That's fine. It doesn't need to be big. Located in its traditional spot. We have a little bit of shouldering there. Absolutely no blade play up, down, left, or right. That's really impressive, honestly. The lockup percentage, I think it's probably 50%. That's what it looks like to me. Let's look on the back of the tang. Obviously, a knife like this that is not designed in any way, shape, or form to be a hardcore outdoor survival knife. It's really hard to see where the lockup percentage is, but I'm going to guess it's about 50%. This is not a knife that's designed to be like a hardcore, super duper crazy survival knife. So I don't really need this to survive like a Major League Baseball bat swing to the spine. That's stupid. So that's fine with me. No blade play up, down, left, to right. No lock stick. No double clutch. No pivot lash. Very smooth and consistent. And here, a truly really nice detent for this knife. And we are dead on, perfectly centered with no pivot lash. So this is an odd knife, and not everybody's going to like it, right? What I really love about this is it's cool and different and kind of stylish, but it's really, really premium looking, and all of the oddities that come with a little skinny knife like this just aren't really present on this guy. The cherry on top is that you're getting beautiful gold anode titanium. Honestly, Kizer, I wish you guys had offered something else other than gold, just for people who don't like the gold, but hey, this isn't bad. For the only choice, honestly, I think it's really, really nice. The price on this guy is $139. I don't really have a problem with that. This is really, really nice. I mean, if if you're not familiar with this territory of the knife world, you're not familiar with titanium, Kizer, with S35VN, or, this level of fit and finish, then, you're going to look at it and go, oh my gosh, there's way too much money for a knife like that. Look how small and skinny it is, right? Well, it's not really what it's about, but I can understand if you're newer why you might think that. For people who know, you'll know that this is pretty darn competitive. I was pretty happy. I was thinking that this was going to come in at $169, $179, but Kizer, once again, bringing some pretty high quality to the table, pretty high quality knives to the table for a totally reasonable price tag. If you like the small, skinny knives, then you're going to love this. But I feel like that's pretty niche. Like, this is not the design that's going to be enjoyed by everyone, or it's certainly not going to be the most beneficial type of knife. It's going to be like your taste is going to specifically need to be this. If this is your taste, this is a really good knife, and you'll really enjoy it. If you're literally anybody else, Kizer's got a lot of stuff in their own line that will probably turn your head a little bit quicker. But I wanted, to make sure and be fair about this. This is really nice. I'm obviously going to need to go upstairs and find out what my kids are doing because they're being very noisy and it is very distracting. But fortunately for you guys, we are all done with this review. This is a nice knife. It's not going to be for everybody. I'll link it right down below. You guys can check it out if you want. Thanks again to Kizer for sending it in for me to take a look at. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.